Can you tell us more about yourself? How did you start in music?
I was actually doing computer science, and then I kind of got bored, and I was always writing about music back in the day with a lot of magazines. I had a band then called Skin Cold, which was a metal band. So I was always into music, and then post I finished my studies. I got a job with Blue Frog. I worked there for 2 years. I think I got all my skills and my base there.
You started off with metal and then you started the Baby Collective later on.
Yeah.
Can you explain how the shift was for you?
Metal was something that came naturally because I was listening to Deftones and Korn and all these bands from the 90s, the whole new metal sort of era.
Yeah.
And it was fun during college to be part of that sort of movement. And then I kind of grew into electronic music. I used to visit this place in Bandra called Zenzi a lot. Chris Correa was the resident DJ there. He's one half of BBC now. Mostly, it was 4x4 techno house, but there would be days when he would just start spinning drum and bass, and that's how I heard drum and bass for the first time. Me and Rafael, who's the third member of BBC, we used to write for a magazine called JLT back in the day.
Yeah.
And that's how we met. So we approached Zenzi and asked them what is the least favorite day of yours, no one comes to your club.
Okay.
And they were like, Monday. So we were like, can we do something then? Because we just wanted to practice. So it started like that, and that kind of became a movement, and that's how we started BBC, and that's how the whole shift sort of happened.
Can you tell me more about Crunk? How did it start?
I think it was 2009. I wanted to sort of start a booking agency. Because there weren't any booking agencies in the country who just focused on live bookings for artists, I think my first gig was with Medieval Pundits. They were launching their album, and I did a launch gig for them in Pune, for which I was taken to the cop station because we went overtime. Post that, I started signing a few artists exclusively. The idea was to just sort of generate enough gigs for DJs and musicians so that they can actually survive on this,
Basecamp Festival, when will it be held and where is it going to be held?
Basecamp is the only festival in India that promotes bass heavy music.
Okay.
It takes place 4 times a year, and each time we get one headliner from an international artist down to India, and there's also local artists who are the support acts.
Okay.
So usually it takes place in 4 cities, in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore and Pune.
Okay.
So
which is the next one?
the next one will be coming up. It's not announced yet, but it will be announced soon. It's probably in June.
So how long have you known Sohail?
I've known Sohail since the first legit release that I've ever been a part of, which was a compilation CD called Fine Tune Disaster. It was actually a collection of 4 EPs, out of which Scribe had 1 EP in it, and there was another band called Skin Cold, which also had an EP. And Skin Cold's guitarist, Akshay, is Scribe's guitarist, Akshay.
Okay.
And Skin Cold's vocalist is Sohail. And a lot of people now don't really know him as wouldn't even imagine this as a guy going on stage and going people can't really picture that.
Do you have any really good memories?
This guy come up during a gig to where Sohail and I were talking, and he comes up during a gig and he says, "What's going on inside?" It's like the gig, man, and it's like, "Oh, Banak Moth has finished playing or what?" So it's like, "Yeah, man, shit, man, I was in the mood for some death." and so what's going on inside is actually how we greet each other now. It's the first thing we say when we meet each other. What's going on inside?
Where do you see Crunk when the 5-year anniversary comes around? What do you think it's going to be like?
On the 5-year anniversary, I'm sure I'll meet Sohail outside the club and ask him what's going on inside. A lot of their ideas are very fresh. A lot of their ideas are very inventive. I'm quite curious actually to see where that goes, because there's a lot of the dubstep drum-based culture that they've been very their contributions to it have been quite huge.
Do you have any moments which you really like, which you really treasure in Crunks? The 3 years you had Crunk.
I mean, it's great when you see one of your artists like sort of headlining a big stage festival, and Duelist opening for David Guetta, opening for Fatboy Slim recently, Reggae Rajas at the Sula Festival along with Duelist Inquiry headlining the festival. I mean, it's great when you see your artists like playing in front of massive audiences.